Everybody comfortable with us recording this session?
Yeah. Okay. So without much ado and without much delay, I would love to introduce the first speaker we have, Chetna Parekh. She is the founder of Threads Beauty Bar and Salon. She, from a very early age, was very aware of the danger of stereotypes and often the impossible standards of beauty set for women. But she has also discovered through her own life experiences the benefits of beauty that she qualifies as skin deep. She leads a team of 13 salon professionals who worked really hard to lift spirits of customers who walk through their doors every day. And I'm sure this is an interesting time for you, Chetna, and I'd love to hear what challenges you're grappling with. And
yeah, I think everybody, first of all, hello, thank you so much for having me. I am always in constant awe of the Dikshit powerhouse that always is always looking out for our women community and helping us to, just rise and feel empowered and have, community amongst ourselves. So thank you, Powerhouse Dikshit twins. So yes, as Dipti introduced me, I am CEO and founder of Threads Beauty Bar and Spa in Dublin. We've been there for about almost 15 years now. We were the first salon to open up offering the kinds of services that we do, and traditionally they're very ethnic centered. Threading is our mainstay, and that was something that we just didn't have back in 2005 when we first opened. There were some little places, here and there, lots of garage operations, or a tiny operation in a video store or something, but there just wasn't a salon that you could go to and feel safe and feel like you were in a salon, a proper salon. So in 2005, I kind of took the leap to open up, and it was kind of in 2005, if you remember, it was kind of a down economy. I wondered, like, should I do this? I'm not sure. I wasn't even of the beauty background. I just really loved it and really felt the benefits that it had for me, and not just with vanity, but that you could care about your vanity and you could still be smart. And that was something that was kind of a taint, like an unfair taint. I'm kind of, in my household, it was a little bit, where either you could care about what you look like, but then you couldn't be smart. It didn't go together. But I didn't feel that at all. I didn't feel like I was a dummy, but I felt really like the skin deep benefits, to my soul and to my spirit. When I, was able to clear my acne with facials, or, I learned how to, as a teenager, I had these big bottle cap glasses back in the day when they didn't know how to make thin frames, or thin lenses. I had huge, thick glasses, and, Dipti's laughing. You did too, yeah. You couldn't even see my eyes through them. And as a teenager, I wore glasses, and I remember one day, I don't know why, but I decided to apply mascara. And, I walked into a classroom, and one of my classmates was like, "What did you do?" And I just, I thought, I don't know, what are you talking about? And she said, "I've never seen your eyes before." And I said, "Oh, wow. Okay." So you kind of lifted my spirits. And I had a friend who had a lot of facial hair, a lot. And it was really debilitating for her. And in high school, she learned how to remove it. And for the first time ever, she herself saw her own skin. Like she didn't even really know what she looked like with all that hair on her face. And it changed her 100%. And she was, you know, she's my best friend, and I saw what it did for her. So anyhow, back to 2005 and opening, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do something to lift people's spirits with beauty. And my parents didn't really know what that was. You know, they weren't familiar with that type of industry. And, you know, they were, my mom was like, don't do it. I don't think this is a good idea. And I just felt differently. I just felt like, I know that there's a hole in the market, and I really feel in my gut I can fill this. So we filled it, and you know, even with that down economy, we were thriving because there were so many other women who felt the same way, and men, by the way, men too. So we opened with about five other staff women, and you know, it quickly took off. And you know, we would have long lines, and we would have a long list, a wait list, you know, right from when we opened. And you know, finally, I would say like 6 months later, I kind of decided, gee, I really need to open up a bigger space. So in 2006, we found another space really just across the street, 8 times the space. So it was much bigger than what we were used to. And I took the leap of faith. You know, I'm glad I started in the small space, you know, because I didn't have a lot of operating capital in the beginning. But having found that it was a concept and something that, you know, our TriValley needed, I said, I really just felt like I could do this. I can open up this bigger space, and it will thrive. So it's COVID time now, clear all the way 15 years, you know, outlasting 2005 and thriving through that down economy. Now it's COVID, and it really is a different day and time for us. We still have a very supportive community who is reaching out to us through our social media, private messaging us, sending us a lot of words of encouragement. So we have learned to do a few things. We have not been able to reopen yet, which has been a huge financial hit, of course. But thankfully we have planned for, I don't even want to say we've planned for an event like this, but we have planned for downturns. That's what I want to call it. I don't want to call it a disaster, but we had planned for downturns, and we're still around. We're doing things like curbside pickups for people who want hair color, and we're mixing color for them. People still want skincare, so you know, we meet them for skincare, for hair care. I do virtual consults for them, and we meet as a staff. We now have 13 staff. We meet regularly through Zoom, and we talk about how we're feeling. You know, we share our fears. A lot of our staff had some very some significant fears about even leaving their homes once all of this started. And you know, I discovered that some were not even leaving their home. You know, it had been 2 months and some had not even left their home. And I wondered, how do you have enough food for 2 months? But they did. They had, you know, plenty of dal chawal to last them and stuff in the freezer. And, you know, they were making it happen. But, you know, talking through those fears, supporting one another through all of this, how it was okay to wear a mask and go outside and let the sun hit you, and how important that was. And how important it was for their families to see that, hey, you know, we still have to get up and keep going, support one another, and, you know, talk about what you're feeling. And there's a lot of depression out there right now, unfortunately. And if lots of friends in the mental health industry talking about, you know, like unprecedented, severe, you know, depression. So we talk a lot about that, and we support one another through it all. So that's who we are. I'm glad to be part of this, and part of a community of women who really do care about what's going to happen to us. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Chetna. That was so heartfelt and so revealing in so many ways. And I'm so glad you shared your story. And yeah, this is not the best of times, but I think stories like these, how women are really making it happen, it just lifts up our spirits. And I think we need to hear these stories and step in if we can in any way. So I would like to now request, sorry.
Can I just say, I just wanted to read out what Audra had written on the comment.
Yes.
So, Chetna, I don't know if you're able to see it, but Audra has written that, Chetna, I've been going to Thread since your hotel room days. You're a huge inspiration. So.
Oh, yay!
May I request Sylvia to please introduce our next speaker and member, Jennifer Skog.
Thank you, Dipti, and thank you, Chetna. That was so amazing, and it's such a great segue into introducing Jennifer Skog, who I have a personal relationship with, so I was very, very excited to include her in this circle. When I met Jennifer, it was at a low point in my life, and I found her to be the embodiment of what we're trying to get across here. The strength of women's circles, the really leaning in. So how did we connect? I'm an author, and I was looking to do photography for my book cover. And I had been chronically sick for a very long time, and I had major self-esteem issues. And somehow I got connected with Jennifer, who one of her hats that she wears is boudoir photography. And I recommend it to everyone because it's not, to me, it's a gift you give yourself for empowerment. I'm gonna cry, but it really is. It makes you see yourself in a completely different way. And when I got to Jennifer's house that day, I literally was having an anxiety attack. I don't know if you remember that, Jennifer. And she put something under my tongue, which sounds really scary. But instantly I was like, oh, which also goes into what she does with MJ Lifestyle magazine, which stands for marijuana. And it showcases beautiful women using this organic, beautiful plant and the wellness benefits we get from it. And she has also evolved into having a CBD subscription box. So today we didn't even know if Jennifer was going to make it or not because she had a migraine. And those of you who joined the beginning of this call, we all deal with lots of health issues. And, you know, it's nice to have this kind of resource. And so I'm really excited to hear everything about what Jennifer's doing, and maybe we can all pick her brain just a little bit about these products. So welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you, Sylvia. That is a really, really sweet introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Skog. I am a former, well, not former, I'm a photographer, obviously, and yes, boudoir, all about empowering women. But I have also been a longtime cannabis consumer. And so I have battled with the stoner, you know, and back in the day, it was cool to be a stoner. Not so much when you become a mom and a professional entrepreneur. So really what kind of inspired this was a friend of mine was like, hey, cannabis is legal. you know, you should get in front of this. You know, you've always been about, you know, the legalization. And I was like, no, I cannot do that to my reputation. Like, I've built this beautiful photography career, very successful photography career. I can't hurt that. And so I kind of started, she's like, just do this one photo shoot with me. And so I did one photo shoot. I literally thought I was going to get arrested for having too much weed in a photo shoot. I was also at the time, in my defense, moving from Kansas City to here, which I lived in Kansas City for a couple of years. And so I was in a super red, super, just very conservative state. So that was a big no-no there. And so anyway, we did the photo shoot, and what I kind of realized was, oh my gosh, we're in this industry is not representing women in a positive light anywhere. It's either over-sexualized or over-stonerized. And so that was really kind of what led into one thing into another. We started with the Instagram account. We went anonymous. I didn't even want to let people know who I was. And then one thing led to another, where it was like, are you doing a magazine? And I ended up doing a magazine. Why did I do a magazine? I ask myself that every single day. Really, it's because of my photography background, I have very high standards. I want this to be printed on the most, it's a beautifully printed magazine on matte paper, 9x12. It's got all of my photography, most of my photography in it, which I have been honing this craft for 20+ years. So I am very good at that as well. And really, we are elevating women's voices. We are giving real life stories. This next issue that's coming up is about motherhood, and not necessarily just about being a mother, but how, you know, owning a uterus, or even previously owning a uterus, gives us this nurturing sense in every single thing that we do, whether it's our career, whether it's our pets, whether it's our parents, and obviously our own children. And so I really wanted to kind of just share a lot about what real women are going through, whether it's cancer stories, menopause, all these questions that we have as women, you know, that hasn't really been taken care of, you know. Also parenting, also, you know, there's a lot of states that it's still illegal. So worrying about taking CBD while you're pregnant, that can be very scary too, because if for whatever reason they want to test you and they test THC, they could take your child away. And so this is what's concerning, is because CBD is now federally legal, and that's great and all, but it is not FDA approved. And so because it's not FDA approved, means that there's no standardizations, there's no regulations on CBD. So wherever you buy your CBD, it might not be the same potency that it says, it might not have CBD at all, and it could have THC. The Mayo Clinic just did a research and had, like, I think 85 different brands of CBD. 17 of them had more than the legal amount of THC, which is incredibly harmful if you're giving it to your children. And it's incredibly harmful if you're like anybody that can't have THC in your system, if you're in law enforcement, if you get tested for drugs. So, you know, people can think they're getting CBD only, you know, to help with whatever, anxiety, pain relief. It helps with so many different things. It really is, you know, we have one article on our website, how to get started. And it's like, well, first, what do you want it for? You know, let's see what you want it for, and then we can think about how we're going to best kind of consciously consume this cannabis, or CBD, not, you know, just getting as high as you want, and seeing if it works. And that's kind of the dangerous part, is, you know, you'll go to a dispensary and you're listening to some bud tender who's saying, try this, and he could hand over 100 milligram brownie that a grandma could eat, and that would, like, not be good. Just so you know, you want to start with like 5 milligrams, not 100 milligrams, not 50 milligrams. So there's just a lot to learn about this. It's plant medicine, which is, sorry, I'm going low on battery. And so the brands that we're recognizing are, most of them are female owned. They have intention behind every product that they are creating. And they have good, they're also socially responsible. So for us, you know, it does not go unrecognized that, without getting too political, that the war on drugs has significantly affected our Black and brown communities. And that needs to change. So it's important that we are not only educating, but we are also advocating and amplifying these voices to get some sort of fairness. Yeah, and like I said, without getting too political, there's, we had $3 billion of tax income that came in that has never been here before, and it's not going to the right places. So a lot of it's going towards lawmakers and stuff like that. And so that's why it's important that we're educating. I mean, the amount of tax that we're paying on legal cannabis is making it so it's not accessible to everybody. The amount of tax that we are paying is obviously not making, but I'm guaranteeing it's more than we're paying for alcohol or cigarettes. And this isn't medication. And so, like I said, there's a million things that I can talk about as to why this is so important. Growing up as a stoner chick, never in a million years would I expect to be fighting for this because it seems so trivial. But truthfully, it's not trivial. It's also hemp. Industrial hemp can save the world with climate control. It takes far less energy to grow hemp and far quicker than cotton. So there's just so much, and this has been kept secret for way too long. And so yeah, so that's kind of MJ Lifestyle in a nutshell. We are a magazine advocating for women, advocating for the plant medicine, and also, so behind the scenes, it's been really hard. I'm kind of a one-woman show. I design it, I sell it, I design the website, I do social media, I do all the back-end stuff. I'm exhausted, and I'm broke. It is very hard to sell a beautiful magazine when you cannot advertise on Facebook, Instagram, or Google. It's only word of mouth. And so also, like, yeah, kind of print is kind of dead. So anyway, I'm in this kind of situation where it's like, okay, how do we sell these magazines? And essentially with MJ Lifestyle, we wanted this to be a lifestyle brand where we have events that are educating you and allowing you to just put your self-care first, just enjoy your day, and learn more about this plant medicine and how it could help you and increase, it's really promotes health wellness is what it's about. And so we did a beautiful event, thank God, before COVID hit. It was incredible. Of course, we were in the red for it, but it was a great way to introduce our brand to the real world and also show the industry, cannabis industry, how we are elevating the industry. And then we started with a CBD box because basically we've got all these amazing brands that we love. Like I said, most of them are female owned. If they're not, they're very female focused. And so how do we get those products into our favorite people's hands? We come up with the CBD subscription box. And this kind of is also to help me sell my magazine, to be honest with you. But where else are you going to be able to try these CBD products? And so every 3 months, what you get with the membership is you get a CBD box. They're usually worth, well, we've got 2 full-size products. Usually they're personal size. We've got 2 full-size products coming in the summer one. And this one's going to be at least worth $150. So I'm stoked on the participation from our brands that we love. And hopefully this is going to help get MJ known more, or at least amplify us a little bit. We're starting out with an ambassador program. We've got an affiliate program. We've got lots of different things happening. And we had to print next week. So lots of things happening and lots of reasons for my migraines. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing in a nutshell. Sylvia, thank you a million for letting me be here. And also I wanted to say I'm in my sister's salon, which we feel your pain on the salons. My sister owns her salon, and so we're actually right now getting ready to put up some barriers for when we can open. It's been, the salon industry already has the most strict guidelines for sanitation, and so the fact that they haven't been able to open has been really it's really significant and challenging for everybody involved. Anybody in the service industry, I think really it's been really hard. I'm thankful I'm no longer a wedding photographer because I would not have that money to refund all those weddings. So anyway, yeah, that's me. If you guys have any questions, we are always here to help. MJ stands for Mary Jane, which is also marijuana, but it's more of a feminine name for it. I actually wanted to name my daughter that, and my husband would not let me. So her name is Jane Ryan. which fits her perfectly. But we are always here to help with any questions you have. And if we don't have the answers, we can send you to somebody who does.
Thank you, Jennifer. So besides becoming, getting a subscription and so forth, you could really use advertisers. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, advertisers and subscribers. Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for all you do. I wonder where that
You're
salon
welcome.
is. Where is that salon?
We're in downtown Pleasanton.
Oh,
We're coming to Pleasanton soon.
yeah,
Good.
we're doing a Pleasanton rollout, so we hope to have your sister there.
Yeah, she would love to. She's got lots to say too.
Great.
I just wanted to say that it's not a field that I'm very familiar with, but I know a lot of people who have recently started benefiting. They're in a lot of chronic pain and stress and anxiety, and I see the benefits, and I know how hard it is to break the silence and really create information on issues, especially as a woman, because it's anyway harder to have your word heard. So I just want to say we really appreciate the courage with which you've shared your story, and it's very hard to be path-breaking anyway, and to be path-breaking on things that have a lot of stigma and social responsibility attached to them is very hard. So thank you, Jennifer. I really appreciated your story and your share.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, I just like to say that even the consumers of the products, as well as what they're going through in terms of just whatever the physical ailment they're going through is also, they're both stigmatized. So it's like a double-edged sword. So thank you for your work. And I will, this is again, somewhat of a perfect segue into the next person we have with us today, Shamika Marti. She has been a member since, I think she was one of the first members to sign up on our website and on our directory. She's an author, a project manager, and a motivational speaker. And she wears all these diverse hats with great aplomb. And she also balances her role as a wife and a mother. She is, as you shared, Jennifer, a recent transplant to Dublin. And so she's made her mark in the community through her advocacy and just talking about everything that she's been going through. And she happens to be a survivor of various chronic diseases. And she is very passionate about creating awareness about these diseases through social media, and truly it is, I mean, I follow her on Facebook, and I see just the passion with which she creates awareness about the stuff that she's going through, and I see how people respond to her and take lessons from what she's going through. Shamika, I hope you don't mind me congratulating you for a recent milestone you've had in your journey, in your treatment regimen. And so we all wish you, great health and strength. And thank you for guiding us through all the challenges you've been facing. So without much ado, I'd like to turn it over to Shamika.
Well, thank you very much for that introduction. I don't know how I can proceed after that. But as you had stated, I am a transplant. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I came here because my husband got a job with PG&E. But also in New Jersey, to make your mark, it would take much longer time than it does here in California. In California, things move a lot quicker. If you have any type of dream, you can pursue it a lot easier. And so when I came here, I do have a lot of autoimmune diseases, the main one being lupus. I am a patient advocate. I also have endometriosis, Sjögren's syndrome. I have about 7 different autoimmune diseases. And my passion is motivational speaking. I put that under my business, which is the Marty Firm. So anytime that I do have speaking engagements, they can bill me through there. But I also have my own IT consulting business, which is encompassed with that. It's really hard as a Black female when I tell them that I'm in IT, that they're, just taken aback, because a lot of the times you don't see a lot of Black females in project management or just in IT. So I advocate for that. I help other women, you know, become a better version of themselves. When I go to speak, it's not just about illness, it's about the whole picture. Because no matter what, you can take a magic pill, you can take CBD, which I do, and other things, but mentally, if you're not right, that is the key. There is no magic pill that's going to make everything better. And I try to make sure that I teach other people that. I go through a lot of things medically, and I'm very transparent about it. Not for pity, but to at least let people know, like, you're not alone. And a lot of the times when I am putting things up there on Facebook, Instagram, showing them like, hey, this is what an EEG is. This is what happens when, you know, you do this. This is the type of shot. And I connect with people because they're like, oh my God, there's someone else going through it. And just being open and honest about it, that seems to help other people. And like, you know what? I didn't ask my doctor about that. She mentioned that. You helped me through this. And that makes me happy because, you know what? When you're sick, it's really hard. You can go on disability, which I'm on temporary disability right now. But it's hard to make an income, but you can also help people. And I also, my other business is buying properties and putting it back into the community so that people can have affordable housing. So if you're on Section 8, a lot of the times people are waiting to find housing on Section 8. So I will find properties, rehab them, and make sure that I am a Section 8 person and accept applications for that. Because if you know anything about Section 8, there's always a really long list. So that's me giving back to the community. Also, you know, making sure that that's a business that I can do just in case if I become sick, I have income coming in. There's always going to be different revenue streams and different things. I've also authored a book. It was just detailing my experience with lupus and how it affected my family because my mother had it as well and she had severe rheumatoid arthritis. But I'm coming out with other things like a children's book series to help children that are going through, you know, cancer treatments and things. And the first book is called Ivy Gets an IV, and help children to be okay with getting a needle. I mean, I'm, you know, 40 years old and I still hate needles. And I can only imagine kids that have to go through constant medical tests and things of that nature, how they could feel. So there's a lot of things that I do, but helping out in the community. I'm part of the Dublin Rotary Club. I'm also a part of the Paramedic Advisory Board for Northern California, in which we vote on the curriculum and trying to get more minorities and females a part of first responders, because, you know, how many times you see a female firefighter, or how many times you see a Black or brown firefighter, and getting it out there in the community to know that you can do this. And there are grants that will help for you to achieve this position. So that's just, you know, a little bit about me.
Thank you so much, Ramika. So I did not take anything away from what you wanted to say. There was so much more, and we wanted to hear more. We knew all of this other stuff about you. So thank you for sharing. And I mean, your work in housing and helping communities who really, really are hurting right now, that is just inspirational. And thank you for sharing that. That really means a lot.
Yes.
And I think this is again, a perfect segue into whom I'm going to introduce next. Lisa Ahmed, the founder of Mirchi Cafe. And my house is abuzz right now, I have to say, because we got food from Mirchi for this afternoon. And there's been a lot of, you know, the smells have been wafting and my attention has been more on the food. And I'm like drawing myself back here because there's so much going on. My kids are coming and showing me these boxes full of like all these goodies. So I'm excited. So Lisa, I think I spoke to Lisa the other day, and just her talking about food is like listening to poetry. I think she comes with with a lot of passion. And the menu of her restaurant, in her words, is an homage to her relationship with her husband. It sort of brings together both their cultures. She is Italian-American, and her husband has Pakistani roots. And so her menu is truly a veritable feast. And it's just like everything that I love about food, because it just mixes East and West in such a wonderful way. And so we have, so I think many of us have ordered something from her restaurant this afternoon and are going to enjoy it. I hope you all do. And we also have we're going to gift our speakers with gift cards from Mirchi Cafe. So we're very excited that you all get to taste the food from her restaurant. So without much ado, I would love to hand it over to Lisa.
Hi everyone, it's so wonderful to see everybody's faces, and I'm sure in a normal time we would have really enjoyed being around a table and enjoying lunch together and having an interesting chat, but this is a good second. And thank you so much for your kind words. I wanted to preface that I too am suffering from a really difficult migraine right now, and my brain and my mouth aren't working very well, but I'm going to continue to try my best. It's and it's an ocular migraine, and so I'm wearing my glasses. So anyways, and I also wanted to say to some of the speakers here that I too suffer from chronic illness, and it's something I don't talk freely about, I guess, in social media, just because it's my own private struggle currently. I'm open to talk about it, but I also try not to make it the focus of who I am. Just still trying to figure it out, but it's been 10 years now, and so it's shaping. And I with Sylvia, I really connected with your sense of losing a bit of who you are, I would say. So I'm still struggling with that, and this migraine's not helping. So forgive me if in any way I don't articulate the way I'd like to. Yeah, so where to start? I'll try and be brief because it is a long story, like I'm sure we all have to share. I married my husband when I was very young. I was 17. It's a long story that we can talk about another day, but it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. And part of that decision, I chose to convert to Islam, which was also something I didn't have to do, but I chose to do. And it's also been a very important part of my journey in my life thus far. And in that, we've had 5 children, but prior to Mirchi Cafe, we had 3, and I was watching them grow up. But prior to even that, my love story with my husband started in my family's Italian restaurant. And he had just come from Pakistan, and he had 3 jobs, and one of his jobs was my family's restaurant. And so fast forward that journey of us falling in love, working together in the restaurant, I then entered Culinary Academy when I was 18, and decided that was the career that I would stick with. Excuse me. And so I worked with my family's restaurant. My grandfather passed away suddenly while we were in Pakistan from a heart attack, and that kept me. It was right after I graduated from Culinary Academy, and I was 20 at that point. So I decided to stay in the business rather than to go out into the culinary world like I had planned to work with other chefs. And there was a part of me that, not recently, but a few years later, where I kind of felt like I missed out on not working under other flagships. But as I've grown into my maturity, I realized like this was what was written for me. And this, had I not stayed in my family's restaurant and taken just from my surroundings and understanding the business on all levels, rather than just, working in the kitchen, because I managed that business with my family for years. And so it gave me all of the aspects of running a restaurant. And that's how I believe we were able to, open Mirchi Cafe in 2004. And we started in Fremont in a really rundown location because it was affordable. And we had just closed our Italian restaurant and sold the lease to another restaurant. So, and that's another part of the story. It's too much to explain for time. But I was like without a restaurant for a year in my life, because when my grandparents opened, I was 3, and I had literally never just been outside of a restaurant environment in my entire, adult life. And that 1 year was the year that we were at least building up Mirchi. And so I've been grateful that I've pretty much been in the restaurant business my entire life. And it's something that I stay in because of my love of the industry and my love of feeding people. And it's truly something that, and I've heard many people say this, if you don't love the business, then it will crush you. And it still crushed me, as you can see, because I have migraines and I have some chronic illness. But it was worth it, and it's still worth it, and that's why I continue. And so when we opened Mirchi, my focus was to tell the story of the coming together of my husband and I through the food on our plate. And I had traveled to Pakistan many times in our marriage, and I just loved it. And every time, post 9/11, whenever someone like, oh, where are you from? Where's your husband from? And I didn't have on hijab at that time, this head covering, something I chose about 5 years ago. But so I just looked like a blonde lady that, could mix in with just about anyone. And when they found out my husband was from Pakistan, it was like, oh my God, have you ever been there? And it's like, yeah, I have. I love it. It's such a great place. And it was like, oh my God, it's not safe. And it's like, no, it is safe. And it actually is. So that was another layer to the business. I wanted to show the beauty of Pakistan and try and, bridge the hearts. I feel like, again, the food, the art, music, there are 3 bridges that, and I thought if I can do all 3 at once, then we can really start hopefully, building this connection to the beauty of Pakistan rather than the dangers and all of those negative words that, unfortunately come with Pakistan. And so it was a huge struggle because, even though I had this, history of being in the restaurant industry from birth, basically, I didn't link the 2 communities. And back then there was like not really any social media. So it was, Tri-City Voice magazine. They were the first people to come in and interview our business. It was really hard to get the word out, but then when our customers would come in, it was very much ethnic for them, and it was scary. And so it just didn't fit, and we decided let's just narrowly focus on our community. And so we basically offer halal comfort American food with like Indian Pakistani twist, and that was our decision right away. I had a lot of Italian dishes on the menu that I ended up just cutting and editing because our people, again, now it was like trying to find the fit. Like, okay, we don't fit over here and we don't fit over there. So where do we fit? And that's kind of been the focus of I wouldn't say my identity, but I don't really fit anywhere, and I'm okay with that now. But for a lot of times in my life, I felt like I want to fit in. I want to, I want to be a part of. And I was neither here nor there. I wasn't Pakistani, and suddenly I was no longer a typical American person that could just fit in. I had this different story to tell, and I've just made it my own at this point. And thank God for age and just comfort of knowing who you are. And so so that's a piece of what made the business, because I had a lot of insecurities when I opened, because again, I was just I was born with blonde hair and black eyebrows, very strange, but that's what happened. And then my hair started getting slightly darker, so I started dyeing it more blonde, right? Because that's the way I saw myself. And so this woman would enter the space, and a lot of our community would kind of freak out and think that our business wasn't halal because this white woman standing there with blonde hair. So I had that experience to deal with too. So if you add it all up, it's been scarring, and I do have the scars, and they're still there. But again, thank God for, growing older and wiser and going back to that, accepting who you are. It all shaped my experience of running this business and being a woman, and a woman in the restaurant industry as is a really difficult place to be. And there's not a lot of support on that level. And then being a halal chef is also another piece that's been very interesting. It's kind of I would say it's like a lonely place to be, because I'm not, from my own choice, I'm not able to partake in today's most, hyped kind of like best life, which is a glass of wine and, the best pork chop you've ever had or whatever. Like it really, you end up in the corner, and I'm okay being in that corner. And I've decided that that's a place that I'm happy to be. But it's taken a journey, and it's taken a lot of inward thinking and acceptance and a lot of meditations to come to the reality that we have to choose what's best for ourselves and our hearts and our, when you feel that so deeply, it's really what pushes you forward. And I'm just holding tight to that. The business itself, it took off right away. We had a friend who knew Imran Khan, and this is when he first started his political campaign, and he was coming through California. So somehow he agreed to be at our grand opening. So it was this really fun, it's like another long story, but not enough time. And anyway, so he opened the business, everything popped off, and it was like, oh wow, this is great. And then a month later, it was like crickets. Nobody was there. And I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, where's everybody? And it took about 3 years for our community to get comfortable with what we were offering. So we're not offering traditional Pakistani food whatsoever. It was like burgers and pasta and pizza, and sure, there were flavors of Pakistan, but it was just too new. And I feel like, let's see, 2004, so I think we're coming up on, 7, so we're in 16th year, and 16 years ago was another world in a lot of ways. And I now see that we've grown into our market, and but now we're kind of, aside from COVID, that's like a whole nother story. But the restaurant industry has changed so much on so many levels over the years, and we're still trying to figure out because we're like a family-run table service type of a restaurant in which we want to connect with our customers. We don't want to stick with counter service, and we don't want to just stick with people running in and running out. We want it for our restaurant. It's definitely a community that we focused on. We do a lot of as much reach out as we can to the community over the years. And we just had this so every Ramadan we have a festival for the kids, so that they also, because a lot of times it always becomes adult centric where everybody's just talking to their friends and the kids are off in the corner. So we really wanted to make it about our children, and so we have this yearly free event where you just get a free registration ticket, show up, and we feed you, and there's fun activities for the kids. And this year with COVID, obviously we couldn't do that, so we decided to do a drive-through package meal, and just to at least see the people that we miss so much. We miss our customers. We see them, but we don't see them. We're connecting with them, but we're not really connecting with them on the level that we'd like to. So that was it's been how we've been coping with COVID, by just keeping it really simple and bringing everything down to the basics, not trying anything new, and just trying to keep our quality to the best of our ability. And in general, I guess the last thing I'd add is we decided to open our second location in Dublin, and that's why I'm sitting in this rollout, this Dublin rollout. It's been 3 years, and again, it's been an adventure, because opening a second location, I'm only one person, and I have a beautiful team of family members that support me, and that's how I continue. But two businesses separately, apart from each other, has been a challenge, and we've had a lot of bumps in the road, and we're finally, I think with COVID, the only blessing that we've seen so far is because we pared down so simply, it's starting to make more sense. So it's less is more on all avenues. That's something I've been thinking a lot about in these last few months. So I look forward to serving all of you, and I pray that we can all join around a table someday soon. And again, feeding people is my favorite thing to do, and I really hope to have the opportunity someday soon.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That was so heart-wrenching. I mean, I teared up many times during as you were speaking. And Shailaja just shared with me this poem, which I think is just beautiful, written by a common friend of all of ours. And I'm just going to read a small part of it.
Definitely.
And I don't think I'm going to get through it. Let my language celebrate what raised me. My race celebrate my forebears that are still part of me. My age, the wisdom of 1,000 failures. 1,000 attempts. My gender, my sexuality. Celebrate the battle of childbirth, of manning up, or we can fix you. My enunciation, my effort to make you comfortable. Let my faith celebrate my hope, charity, and boundless love. And it's just, I think that's why we are here. That's why we have TriValleyWEB. And that's what we hope to do. And thank you for being a part of this today. And I hope you will stay part of our community and enrich us with your journeys, with your words, with your actions, and with all the wonderful businesses that you own and run with so much passion and so much clarity of vision, and maybe sometimes not always clear, but then just, journeying on with what, with 2020 vision, I guess, now. So thank you for being here. And I just want to say, Yamini was supposed to close today, but since and she's a Dublin resident, which is why we were hoping she would do that. But in the interest of time, I think we'll end now.
Yeah. Can everybody maybe put their videos on if you'd be comfortable with it? We can take a group picture just to give a shout out to everyone along with the video that we post. So
thank you for
fair warning that a picture is being taken. I don't know if Jennifer is on or she's able to put her video on. So can someone else? Oh, there you go. You look nice, Jennifer.
Getting her hair done. Oh my God, I'm jealous.
I'm feeling really jealous right now.
Nice.
So the perks of having a sister who owns a salon.
We're all coming to you.
Can someone else, Yamini, can you also take a picture just so we have two and then I'm not blamed for like a bad one?
It doesn't matter. I always like I'm in a dark room, whatever.
All right, everybody smile. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We will post the recording of this up on our social media, and Deepthi, you wanna back to you.
Oh, thank you. And no, I have nothing more to say. I think I've said enough, and I'm really at a loss for words. Thank you all for coming. We're all really overwhelmed by the response.
Yes. Everybody's journey has been just amazing to hear. Thank you for sharing so generously.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say I look forward to hearing about everybody else's journey in the future.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, thank you for the others who showed up, Archana, Shalaka.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Hey, quick question. Lisa, is your sister Sarah?
Yes.
Such a small world.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, you know Sarah?
I do, yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
All right, okay. Just wanted to like
connect the dots. Yeah, Lucia is my maiden name. So
it's like 2 degrees. That's it.
How did you find the connection? Just curious.
I just started thinking about that you're married to a Pakistani man and that you're Italian, and I remember I just remember one day Sarah mentioning something. Oh, my sister has
funny. You have a great memory.
Yeah, and I was like,